Welcome viewers. In this video we're going to be looking at the calibration of the X, Y and Z axis on your 3D printer. The reason we might want to do this, if you're printing models which you need to be accurate, such as parts which are going to be fitted together, you need to make sure that when you measure the dimensions of the object when it's finished, it's exactly what you want it to be. So the best way to do that is to make sure you calibrate the X, Y and Z axis of your printer. In a previous video we looked at calibrating the extruder by measuring the millimeters extruded, and we set the extruder E steps to get that correct, so we know we're extruding the right amount. Just to confirm how much we're extruding, you would print an empty box such as this one here, like we have, like this. And if you print a box which has no infill, such as this, no infill whatsoever, and you can measure the walls size with a pair of calipers like so, and you will get a measurement, and this is about 0.4. And the way to check if that is actually what it should be is to go to your slicer, which we will do now. If you've got Prusa slicer, then this is what you want to where you want to go. And in Prusa slicer, it's different in other slicers, but in Prusa slicer, to get the wall line with wall width, you would go to print settings, which is here, and you want to look for this is probably in advanced, I think, and here you've got extrusion width. Check in your slicer what your extrusion width should be, and if you calibrated the extruder, which we did in live stream number 6, if you want to go back there and have a quick check of that, you'll see how we did that. You'll find that you'll be able to get the wall thickness exactly correct before you do this step, which is doing the X, Y and Z calibration. So what we're going to do today, I printed this one off, I'm going to print another one. So we're going to go, first of all, you need to download a model or make a model, and if we open, and hopefully there is a 20 by 20 square. Now the model you need, it can be 20 millimeters or 40 millimeters, it doesn't really matter. The main thing is you want to do, when you slice it, like so, you want to make sure there's no infill. This one has infill, so go to your printer settings. You'll see this has got 20%. You want to change that to 0. I'm going to put 0 there for now, and I'm going to slice this model again. And when I slice it, I now have an empty box. The reason it's an empty box is we want to measure the wall thickness, and also we want to measure the dimensions of the box. So we're going to print that now. I've already loaded that into my printer, and I would do that in your usual way. Here is the print. It might take about 3 minutes to print. So the printer is now on its way. We're going to be printing that. After we've printed it, we will check the dimensions. So let's get into the settings we need to change if the dimensions are wrong on this square object we're printing. So we have to go to configuration. This is where we always go, and if you're not sure how to get to this, previous videos give you a bit of information on that. We use this file quite a lot, the configuration file. So the first thing we want to do is to right click on the file, and we want to duplicate it, which I always do, and I'm going to call this old, because this is the previous one we're going to use. So if we make any mess ups, we can go back to it, and I'm going to save that, and it should save it there. So if anything goes wrong, we delete that one, and we delete the old from the end of here, and that should make us back to normal. So let's go to print configuration. Once this is printed, the places we're going to change, we're going to set the X axis steps, and we're also going to set the Y axis steps. The z-axis steps, which is the vertical movement, it's highly unlikely you'll need to change that, but we'll check that as well. And this machine has already been calibrated, so this one should print out really correct. But once it does, I'm going to show you what happens if you change these parameters to a different value to show the effects. And the effect will be, instead of having a square like this, if the x-axis steps were out, you might have a too long on the x-axis, too short on the y, and that means you'll get you put in a 20 by 20 box and you will get a 22 by 19 box or something like that. So you have to make sure you note which side of the box that you print is the front. And if you know which is the front, you will then be able to determine the x-axis, which is right to left, and the y-axis, which is forward to backwards, and then you'll know which axis to change in the settings. So the box is finished. Let's go over to the printer. There we are, we've finished the print, and we're going to measure it. You should really measure it when it's cooled down, because the object will have expanded a bit. So if you look at this one here, you can see we're dead on 20 there. That's on the y-axis. And on the x-axis, we are dead on 20 as well. And if I just check the wall width, it should be 0.4, which it's not far off 0.4. We're now going to show you what happens when you change one of the settings. So we'll take this off here, and we will remove the filament. We'll put that back into there, and we'll go over to the computer. Creality Sonic Pad Fluid Interface. We'll go to configuration. Here's a printer configuration, and what I'm going to do to show you how it affects the length, I'm going to change one of these to make it incorrect. Currently we're at 39.3, and turns out this is the same on both axes, X and Y, on my printer. It might not be on yours, but it is on mine. So I'm going to change this to a figure where I can see a difference. I'm going to change the x-axis, and I'm going to make this 37.3. I'm going to save and close, save and restart. And the last time I did this, it made a bit of a mess of the printer for some reason, and it just wouldn't work. So it shouldn't do. I think I typed in something wrong, to be honest with you. Save and restart I should have clicked, so I'm going to do. Then we're going to print this box again. Print, we're going to say print exactly the same object. There it goes, it's on the printer. It's now away, and it's printing. And what you have to do is you print the box once, then you print it again, measure it, change the either X or the Y axis, and change it by say 0.2 at a time until you get the right value. The right box printed at exactly the right size. You'll get a lot of ones that aren't the right size until you get it right, but once you get it right, it will never change again. It shouldn't do anyway. Here we've printed this model out. This is one where we've changed the x-axis. So here's the x-axis here. We increased that number to, I think it was we changed it by 2. And so the y-axis is still 20. And the x-axis, you can see now the x-axis is gone way out. It's 21 point something. That's because we reduced the value of the x-axis in the configuration. We went from 39.3 to 37. So we've reduced it by 2 points, and that's given us a big difference. So I'm now going to put that back to 39.3 because I don't want that to be wrong. Let's change that to 39.3 again. And we will save that. Save and restart. when you change anything on the Clipper software, you have to press save and restart, so you get it all back into your loaded back up to your printer. So that's all I have for you, really. It was very, very quickly and basically to show you how to set up the X steps and the Y steps. You can do it with, you can check the Z as well if you wish. And if we check the Z on here, I think this is 5mm. So this is 5mm. So there we have that's dead on 5mm. So the height is perfect. You won't have to change the height, I don't think, but you might have a little bit of difference with the belts and things on the X and Y. So have a bit of patience there. Take your time and just do a little bit at a time and change it a little, test it, and then do another print. Once you've done the square, you then want to move on to a round. And if you print a round 20mm object after you've calibrated it, it should be completely round all the way around. If you have the X axis different to the Y axis, what will happen is you'll be printing an oval shape. So calibrate the square, then do a round, and then you should be fine to go. So yep, there it is. In the next video, we're going to be looking at doing the input shaping on the printer, and we'll also be doing the pressure advanced calibration. So keep an eye out for that one. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.